Hey guys, Resourceful Peacock here. I hope you have had a beautiful day wherever you are. It's been gorgeous here. Finally, we're getting into spring, which is very exciting. Um, I want you to think about in the last, let's say, 24 hours, um, a time when you made a choice, and maybe it brought an event or a set of circumstances that you were unhappy with. Some choice that you made in the last 24 hours that didn't turn out the way that you thought that it would. Maybe you said something to somebody and they didn't respond in the way that you had anticipated, or you purchased something and it didn't live up to your expectations, or you posted something on social media, or just some decision that you made, some choice that you made in the last 24 hours. Maybe you're not like me and your last 24 hours were full of absolutely excellent decisions, and everything went the way that you wanted it to. In that case, congratulations, and probably the resourceful peacock isn't for you. Um, for me, I'm usually getting something wrong, at least once a day. Um, so um, so get that in your head, and let's talk a little bit about the power of our choices. Um, Most of the time in my life, nobody's holding a gun to my head, right? The choices that I make are my own, and on my best days, in the best cases, I am thinking through things and maybe weighing a couple of different options. Maybe before I go into a meeting with somebody, I'm expecting a certain set of things that we're going to talk about, and so I can sort of preview that a little bit in my head. Um, but not always. Sometimes we're faced with situations that just come up suddenly out of the blue, and we're not prepared, and we have to make a decision on the fly. How am I going to handle this? How am I going to show up here? How am I going to deal with whatever life is presenting me right now? So this is sort of the crux of what the resourceful peacock is for me. 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 2 years ago, um, I would make decisions and choices without a lot of forethought. I was pretty confident in who I was and in my ability to handle myself. And so whatever happened, I felt confident that I could handle. So say there was something at work that came up that I wasn't very happy about, or someone was doing something that I didn't think they should be doing, or somebody else failed to meet a deadline on a project. Um, I would probably be certain to let them know, hey, what are you doing? We had this agreement and we all decided it needs to be done by this certain day or this certain time. I did my part. What's the matter with you? Um, People don't usually like hearing things like that. A lot of There's a lot of contingencies. There's a lot of things that come up every day in everybody's life that they don't expect, they're not ready for. And just because I had my ducks in a row didn't mean that everybody does. And it didn't give me the right um, to come down hard on people. Um, so I would get branded as hostile and aggressive, and that always made me mad. I was thinking, you know, I'm not hostile, I'm not aggressive, I get my stuff done. I have an acronym for myself, for my life. It's ACE, ACE, accountability, competence, and efficiency. If I tell you I'm going to do something by a certain time, then I will have it done by then. I make sure that I keep my word, and that I meet the things that I'm responsible for in the time that I'm responsible for having them done. Um, I make sure that if I have a project that I'm not really sure about, or it requires something of me that I haven't developed yet, that I figure out how to do that. So I try to be really competent and to have the skills that I need and the tools that I need ready for me, um, so that I'm not caught off guard, so that I can feed into my own accountability and get things done in the time that I say that I will get them done. Um, I work really, really well to deadline. I'm efficient. I have a lot of lists. I make sure that I think things through really carefully and figure out, okay, it's going to take me probably about this long to do this part, but it's going to take this long to do this other part. And so then I work backwards. All right, my deadline is X, and I have roughly about this amount of time that I'm going to need to put into this thing, this project, whatever it is. Even if it's making dinner for my family, we need to eat by a certain time, so I need to start my cooking, my prep work by this time so that everything is finished and we're not getting into, our son's bedtime, because I have failed to be efficient with my time. So ACE, accountability, competence, efficiency. Not everyone works like that, and I have learned this the hard way, by choosing to come down hard on people who don't work that way. People for whom accountability is really a struggle. People who don't have the skills or the tools or the competence that I have. People who don't know how to be efficient. They have a task given to them or something that they choose to do, and they have a hard time estimating how long it's going to take, or they don't build in a cushion for things that come up unexpectedly that they're not anticipating having to budget time for. So I had to learn, to back up and back off and allow other people to have their own process, to have their own journey. So, going back to this, what choices have you made in the last 24 hours that gave you a result that you didn't expect? For me, this still happens pretty frequently, not maybe as a matter of course, but there are still some times that I default to making a decision without really thinking about what are the consequences of this going to be? How is the other person going to feel if I say this thing, or if I come come down in a certain way based on their behavior? This happens all the time in parenting. We have a 4-year-old, and 4-year-olds aren't adults. They don't understand about time sensitivity, or getting all the materials together ahead of time so that they can be really efficient in whatever they're playing with. No, that's just nuts. That's a completely unreasonable expectation. So one of the things that I am still learning and still practicing is trying to adjust my own expectations, especially with other people. For myself, I'm always going to set the bar really high. But one of the things that has helped me is to pause and reflect and just take a couple of seconds, maybe a couple of minutes. Okay, in this situation, my default is X. I typically respond to circumstances of people not getting their job done, or people not doing what I think they should be doing with their time. I respond in a certain way. Now, I've learned people don't like that. So, if I'm feeling in a situation like I'm about to say something that maybe is going to cause somebody to think, oh, she's really aggressive. Why is she coming at me like this? If I can take just a couple of seconds or just a couple of minutes and think it through and respond in a different way, make a different choice, override my default, usually it produces a much different result and a much better result. And then people don't hate me. I'm not aggressive. I'm not hostile. I'm not like the peacock strutting around with its feathers out, making everybody want to back up. I can be approachable, and together we can work on a solution. Okay, we needed this part to be done. This part isn't done. How can I help? Um, and so, my challenge to you today is to think about the last 24 hours, to think about a situation or a scenario where you made a choice and it didn't work out the way that you had anticipated. Or maybe you wanted that person to feel uncomfortable. Maybe you wanted them to know how displeased you were that they didn't get their part done, or that they didn't do what you thought they were going to do, or that they said they were going to do. Um, you have a choice. I have a choice. We always can choose to show up differently and maybe try for a different kind of result. So, a big part of becoming resourceful, of changing from the proud peacock that is kind of aggressive, is about choice. It's about realizing the effect that I have on people when I engage by means of my defaults, and then taking that awareness one step further. So maybe take out a pen after you watch this video. Take out a pen and a piece of paper, or just on your phone, and spend 2 minutes thinking about the last 24 hours. Think about all of the interactions that you've had with your family, with your friends, with coworkers, with people in a store. Think about how you showed up. And if something didn't go the way that you expected, what was your reaction to that? Did that get you closer to what you wanted? Or did it push that person away? Did it make things worse? Um, to become resourceful, to leverage who I am today into a better tomorrow, I have to be able to see what effect my own choices are having on the life that I desire. And this is one choice at a time. This is one instance at a time. And then I put each one of those together. Okay, that one didn't go so well. What can I do differently next time? All right, that one didn't go so well either. What can I do differently next time? Because we all have defaults, you know. Life is hard, we're busy, we're overburdened. There's a lot going on, there's a lot to think about. We're bombarded constantly. Um, and it just takes a little effort, a little awareness, one interaction at a time. Where am I trying to get? What is my ultimate desire here? Do I want this person to behave in a certain way with me? Is there something I'm trying to attain? Um, so instead of trying to serve my own immediate interest in that moment, is there a way that I can come at that maybe more obliquely and still get what I want, without being an ass, you know? Um, if I want my 4-year-old to pick up his toys, instead of yelling at him about how messy he is and how many things he's gotten out and how he's always creating extra work for me, maybe I could come at it a different way. Hey, I'm going to count and let's see how quickly you can get your toys picked up. Ready? Go! He loves a challenge. He loves a game. So I adjust a little bit and I get the result that I want. The toys get cleaned up, but I haven't harmed the relationship with my son. You know, he's not worried that mommy's going to be angry or punish him or remove affection in any way. The same thing at work. Maybe somebody didn't meet my expectations, didn't haul their weight toward a deadline. Instead of berating them for being inefficient or for not caring, um, maybe come alongside them and say, hey, this has been a really rough week for a lot of us. How can I help? What do you have going on? And I can take a few minutes to listen and just figure that out and give them space to share and make them feel heard, make them feel valued. And then we can together put together a plan. Okay, how soon can we turn this around? What do you think in terms of time that you'll need for this? All right, when can you plug that in? Just little changes that done consistently. And I'm not saying that I always do this consistently. This is a practice. This is something that I am working on for myself. Um, and when I do it, when I pause for a couple seconds or a couple minutes and show up differently, override my default, I get to the result that I want easier, faster, and with stronger relationships than if I had just said whatever the first thing was that came into my head. I want to challenge you. Give this a try. See how it works for you. Develop that sense of awareness. Okay, here's what I'm about to say. Here's the response that I usually get when I show up that way. I'm going to try something different. Give it a shot. Let me know in the comments how it goes for you, okay? Good luck.